Hello and welcome. Welcome to this video series on understanding ISO 19011-2018 guidelines for auditing management systems. So this video, I shall work with you to help understand the clause number 1, 2 and 3 of the ISO 19001-2018 standard. Let's start by reading the standard. 1. Scope. This document provides guidance on audit management systems, including the principles of auditing, managing an audit program, and conducting management system audits, as well as guidance on the evaluation of competence of individuals involved in audit process. These activities include the individuals managing the audit program, auditors, and the audit team. It is applicable to all organizations that need to plan and conduct internal or external audits of management systems or manage an audit program. The application of this document to other types of audit is possible, provided that special consideration is given to the specific competence needed. One must understand that ISO 19011 is a mandatory go-to document when you are looking at setup of audit processes for management system audits. I'm of the view that if you are looking at first party, which is an internal audit, second party, which is audit by a customer or customer's representative or anyone interested in the organizational success, or the third party audit, which is the certification audit or accreditation audit, etc. One of the mandatory go-to documents for all audit related guidance shall always be ISO 19011. So there are two aspects of guideline through this audit management system documentation. A, that it provides principles of auditing, managing the audit program, and conducting the management system audits. Additionally, it also provides you guidance on evaluation of competence of individuals who are to be involved in the audit process. So if you are looking at creating or building an audit management structure within the company, you must look at this as a go-to document and look at what are the various best practices offered to you through this ISO standard and making that an inherent part of your internal audit management system. Like it is saying, it is applicable to all organizations that need to plan and conduct internal or external audits of management systems or manage an audit program. So if the organization is looking at internal or external audit of management systems or management of audit program, this is a definite go-to document that you may want to use. This document can further be used for other types of audits like statutory audits, accreditation audits, provided that special consideration is given on the specific competence needed for that kind of audit. So specific audits could have certain competence related requirements. Even for those kind of audits, one can look at ISO 19011 as the guidance document for setup of auditing best practices, evaluation of competence of individuals, etc. Clause number 2, normative references. There are no normative references to this document. So the ISO 19011-2018 does not refer to any document at all. Clause 3, terms and definitions. Very, very important clause. I have been part of the ISO management system audit and implementation for about 2.5 decades now. And several audit related terms are loosely used in the industry. I would recommend that one looks at the definition of the terms very, very carefully and must reference all terms to be used for internal audit purposes, external audit purposes from a baseline document like this one. And one must be very careful about this. Let's read this. It says, for the purpose of this document, the following terms and definitions apply. ISO and IEC maintain terminological database for the use in standardization at the following addresses. ISO online browsing platform, https www.iso.org/OBP. Let me see if I have that open somewhere. This is your go-to place if you are looking at specific terms and definitions. Additionally, they have mentioned IEC Electropedia for specific terms and definitions that you may need when you are doing audits. You must bookmark this and keep it with you if you are looking at career in the management system audit area. This is the site for electrotechnical vocabulary. So you will find a lot of terms and definitions even outside the ISO management system standards. Audit 3.1 Audit: systematic, independent, and documented process of obtaining objective evidence and evaluating it objectively to determine the extent to which audit criteria are fulfilled. Internal audits, sometimes called first-party audits, are conducted by or on behalf of the organization itself. External audits include those generally called second or third-party audits. Second-party audits are conducted by parties having an interest in the organization, such as customer, or by other individuals on their behalf. Third-party audits are conducted by independent auditing organizations, such as those providing certification, registration of conformity, or governmental agencies. These are self-explanatory definitions, so let's move forward. Combined audits. Audit carried out together at a single auditee on two or more management systems. When two or more discipline-specific management systems are integrated into a single management system, it is known as integrated management system. So when audit is carried out at a single auditee on two or more management system, the term used is combined audit. Joint audit are carried out at a single auditee by two or more auditing organizations. Audit program, arrangement for a set of one or more audits planned for a specific time frame and directed towards a specific purpose. Audit scope, extent and boundary of an audit. The audit scope generally includes a description of the physical and virtual locations, functions, organizational units, activities and processes, as well as the time period covered. A virtual location is where an organization performs work or provides a service using an online environment, allowing individuals, irrespective of physical locations, to execute processes. Very important to understand the term audit scope. So each time when you are mentioning audit scope in your audit plan, etc., you must cover all these aspects. Description of physical or virtual locations, functions, organizational units, activities and processes, as well as the time period that the audit is supposed to cover. Audit plan, description of the activities and arrangements of an audit. Audit criteria, set of requirements used as a reference against which objective evidence is compared. If audit criteria are legal, including statutory or regulatory requirements, the word compliance or non-compliance are often used in audit findings. Requirements may include policies, procedures, work instructions, legal requirements, contractual obligations, etc. I would recommend not to use the term compliance, non-compliance for anything other than legal requirement. Only if your audit criteria covers the legal requirements should the term compliance, non-compliance be mentioned, Otherwise, you could use the term conformity, non-conformity. Objective evidence, data supporting the existence of or verity of something. Objective evidence can be obtained through observation, measurement, test, or by other means. Objective evidence for the purpose of the audit generally consists of records, statement of fact, or other information which are relevant to the audit criteria and verifiable. Audit evidence, records, statement of fact, or other information which are relevant to the audit criteria and verifiable. Audit findings. Results of evaluation of collected audit evidence against audit criteria. Note 1. Audit findings indicate conformity or non-conformity. Audit findings can lead to identification of risk, opportunities for improvement, or recording good practices. In English, if audit criteria are selected from statutory requirements or regulatory requirement, the audit finding is termed compliance or non-compliance. So remember this. Each time your audit criteria is vis-a-vis legal requirements, you could term audit findings as compliance or non-compliance. While for any other criteria, you might want to use the term conformity or non-conformity. Audit conclusion. Outcome of an audit after consideration of the audit objectives and all audit findings. Audit client, organization, or person requesting an audit. In case of internal audit, the audit client can be the auditee or the individual managing the audit program. Requests for external audit can come from sources like regulators, contracting parties, or potential or existing clients. The term auditee, organization as a whole or part thereof being audited. Audit team, one or more persons conducting an audit, supported if needed by technical experts. One auditor of the audit team is appointed as an audit team leader. The audit team can include auditor in training. Auditor, person who conducts an audit. Technical expert, person who provides specific knowledge or expertise to the audit team. Specific knowledge or expertise relates to the organization, the activity, process, product, service, discipline to be audited, or language or culture. A technical expert to the audit team does not act as an auditor. Very important part to consider. A technical expert to the audit team does not get to act as an auditor. Observer, individual who accompanies the audit team but does not act as an auditor. Management system, set of interrelated or interacting elements of the organization to establish policies and objectives and processes to achieve those objectives. A management system can address a single discipline or several disciplines, example, quality management, financial management, or environmental management. The management system elements establish the organization's structure, role, and responsibilities, planning, operation, policies, practices, rules, beliefs, objectives, and processes to achieve those objectives. The scope of management system can include the whole organization, specific or identified functions of the organization, specific or identified sections of the organization, or one or more functions across a group of organizations. Risk, effect of uncertainty. An effect or a deviation from expected positive or negative is what is a risk. Uncertainty is the state, even partial, of deficiency of information related to understanding or knowledge of an event, its consequences, and likelihood. Risk is often characterized by reference to potential events as defined in ISO Guide 73/2009 3.5.1.3 and consequences as defined in ISO Guide 73 2009, 3.6.1.3, or a combination of these. Risk is often expressed in terms of combination of the consequences of an event, including changes in circumstances and the associated likelihood of occurrence. Must remember, risk is the effect associated with the uncertainty. The uncertainty is not risk. The effect of the uncertainty is the risk. Conformity, fulfillment of the requirement. Non-conformity, non-fulfillment of the requirement. Competence, ability to apply knowledge and skill to achieve intended results. Requirement, need or expectation that is stated, generally implied or obligatory. Generally implied means that it is a custom or common practice for the organization and the interested parties that the need or expectation under consideration is implied. A specific requirement is the one that is stated, for example, in documented information. Process, set of interrelated or interacting activities that use input to deliver an intended result. Performance, measurable result. Performance can relate either to quantitative or qualitative findings. Performance can relate to management of activities, processes, products, services, systems, or organization. 3.2.6 Effectiveness, extent to which planned activities are realized and planned results achieved. I would recommend that when you are looking to pursue the career of an auditor, you must be extremely careful to refer to the standard, especially the vocabulary part of the standard, to refer to the terms and definitions as explained. You must refrain from making your own interpretation at all cases. So if you are looking at ISO 9001 implementation, go back to your ISO 9000 or refer to 19011. If you are implementing ISO 27001, go back to your ISO 27000. You will be required to go back to the reference document for terms and definitions. Please stay away from trying to create your own definitions, especially around audit criteria, usage of terms like conformity, non-conformity, compliance, non-compliance. You should adhere to what the standard is saying. I hope you find this very simple video helpful. This will set up the basic context of understanding the ISO 19011 as a document. My recommendation is that you go through the scope several times before you take on the other aspects of this standard. Let me repeat, the terms and definition section is extremely critical, so you must try and refer back to the standard at all times for the definition of terms to be used in your auditing practices. I hope you find this very simple video useful. Thank you.